Welcome to the Necronama.com, where we're spending all of October looking at 31 episodes of the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. Today, we're looking at episode 31 from October 18th, 2020. Well, I mean, unless you live in the United States, and then it got postponed for baseball, and then it would be from November 1st, 2020. I am James Sabata.
I'm Don Guillory.
And I'm Thomas Sexbot Brungardt.
Beep, boop,
One
beep.
more time. It's the last time you have to hear me until Monday.
Yeah, I was like, you're never coming back on the show after this. It's going to be months. And then I'm like, hey, can you do Monday's episode? So, yeah, that's exciting.
But we made it. We made it to the end. We did it. We fucking did it.
So I want to comment on the fact that in September we finished the other 30, and I was like, it's going to go wrong. It's 2020. They're gonna move my fucking episode, and we're not gonna have 31 of them. And even that morning, I was looking it up, and I was like, shit, the episode's still on. This is really going to happen. This is great. And then I made a bunch of social media posts about everybody watch it tonight. And then baseball happened and The Simpsons postponed it to November 1st. And here we are with our October 31st episode because we are 9 and we have rewound.
Oh, and congratulations,
Nobody's
Dodgers fans.
gonna get that reference yet. Oh, boo.
When they go back. You see what I've done there? And fuck the Dodgers. I'm still
Duck to
pissed
the Fodgers,
about the
man.
1988 Dodgers, all right? So I don't even want to talk about this year's Dodgers. Jose Canseco needs another ring. I mean, I don't know what finger he'd wear it on since he shoots them all off, but So what are we talking about?
I just want to say, as a Giants fan, it's just the perfect fuck you to 2020 that the Dodgers won the World Series and interfered with our fucking podcast. And that's all the swearing I'm going to do for this episode. I'm cutting myself off.
Thomas is PG-13, while the rest of us.
I'm going full banned from podcast.
But in honor of James and in honor of the whole series, we've all skipped the intro for this one.
Yeah, it's not like it wasn't leaked, as far as a promo and all this other stuff where it's kind of like, oh, how predictable. They went with some election type stuff. Awesome.
Yeah, very topical.
And it's like, I can't make a better fuck Trump joke than they made, so there's no reason to talk about it. So moving along, Don, what's the first one?
All right. The first one we have is TOY GORY. Is a very simple premise. This is a CGI version of, I guess, the story that they're doing. Much better CGI than was done with the episode the story where Homer falls into the wall or the third dimension. But in this story, basically, Bart is every kid who destroys his toys, gets something new, destroys it. But the great twist is the toys fight back and then turn him into a toy by performing as one of the toys. The Malibu Stacy, Dr. Malibu Stacy states she's an expert in plastic surgery. Turns Bart into a toy, and the toys just continue to fuck with him.
I liked this one. It wasn't my favorite. We'll get to that, but I liked it.
Well, for me, it answers some questions because in Toy Story, I like the Toy Story series, but in the first Toy Story, it was kind of like way too simple as far as their revenge with Sid, where it's like, oh, we're gonna expose ourselves as being real and fuck with you, just completely mess you up. Whereas Sid has destroyed. I mean, with the toys themselves, the toys all recognize that they're all alive, but they can't let humans know that they're alive, which is weird. But we're going to let you know that we're alive just to scare you just this moment, as opposed to, we could really fuck you up if we wanted to. So I like that they went there with this. I mean, it's a long time since the first Toy Story to actually revisit this, but I'm glad that at least someone finally did it.
Well, I mean, that's just the animation. It took that many years. Thomas, how did you feel about this?
Well, don't ask, don't Mattel. Isn't that the rule?
Oh my!
I like the animation. It was better than the Coraline sketch they did. Also, I like Toy Story. I don't like Coraline, so I really enjoyed the Randy Newman parody songs.
Yeah, that was really well done.
When I could understand what they were saying. One thing that I've noticed, I've actually watched all of the episodes from this current season, kind of just to see where the show's at. And I appreciate that they're doing a lot of cameos of old characters and old episodes. The thing I enjoyed the most in this episode was the random appearance by Funzo, was just one of the toys. But I will say that when they turn Bart into a toy Bart is legitimately creepy. Like, I was creeped out. But, like, they did a fantastic job animating that. It is almost scary.
Well, and I feel like they did a couple callbacks to old episodes, kind of. Because, like, when they pulled the string, it really reminded me of Clown Without Pity. Okay. And that whole, crusty thing. And then Malibu Stacy, Doctor, as you pointed out, is there as well. And I thought, in my head, I was like, you see that? You got the Krusty doll, and Malibu Stacy's his wife. And I just really live in these early episodes. Now, my real point was, I like that they kind of went back to that feel from the classics that I like. Like, these weren't necessarily on that level, but they were the first time I felt that feeling again. Like, I felt like this could have come out when Clown Without Pity did, or those, like, obviously the animation wouldn't be the same, but writing level and the way they know their source material on these, I just feel like these were really back in that wheelhouse that I loved.
Well, the one thing that made it feel really contemporary to now was just the joke about Bart's scrotum, where I feel like that wouldn't have come up in a really old Treehouse, but the fact that they're doing scrotum jokes now is wonderful. Good for them.
If only we had known sooner, we could have put it on the bingo card we haven't mentioned in 20 episodes or so.
But I like that joke where he turns to Grandpa and he's just like, keep away from scrotum. Well, where is that?
It's in my other pair of pants.
Where else would it be,
But overall, it's good. Go ahead, Don.
Oh, no, I was going to say, this is, again, I like to write my questions down when I'm watching it, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. But as a kid, because we have this moment where we're so far removed from our childhoods, for all three of us, with life, your imagination goes away and things like that, to where now you wouldn't even think about that, because at our age, and we look back on the 90s and the 80s as far as like the era of the toys that you had during that period, you thought about, looking back and thinking about them, you're thinking about like their collector's value or the rarity of certain things, and the idea that you had these toys that you played with. Now you look at somebody, happens to have one at an auction, you're like, holy shit, that was $5,000. You got a $5,000 for some Star Wars toy or whatever it was, and I was the dumbass burying them in the yard because I was having these space battles and they were recreating the film. Whereas you don't think about all the messed up stuff you did to your toys because they were your toys. You're supposed to play with them. You're supposed to destroy them, break them, things like that. Then Toy Story comes along and it makes you think like, oh shit, what if these things actually have feelings? So again, it gets your childhood wonderment back in there. But it makes me question, what would our toys have seen or been involved in or even thought about us as far as the interactions?
I would just like to say I'm not going to talk about Sex Bot here. I think that's a bad idea.
Rats.
I was always the kid that I was an only child, and I didn't have a lot of friends that lived near me. And I had like my cousin and stuff like that, but I was a dick like I am now, so we fought a lot. And then I would have like 2 weeks where I had to like just hang out by myself, right? And so I was the kid who already thought my toys were alive. Like I always held out hope, like maybe you'll start talking to me. And I don't know. So it's always interesting to me that other people didn't necessarily feel that. Because, like, I had friends that would just, like literally take, like, an action figure and try to break it in half. And I was like, what are you doing? He's gonna die. And so it's interesting hearing you say that, because for me, it was always the case. Like, not that I thought they were alive so much as I wanted them to be alive.
Right.
Interesting. I didn't have a lot of action figures. I did have a fair amount of Simpsons toys, but I didn't really play with those. I kind of set them up as kind of a diorama, I guess, in different scenes I made. The toys I had the most of, and I still actually have most of them, are like little die-cast toy cars. I got Hot Wheels and NASCARs and stuff like that, and I would race them around, and I would make them all crash. So they probably all thought that I was a terrible person, sending them to a fiery grave in favor of seeing my Dale Earnhardt senior car win the race. But yeah, I never had that moment of wanting toys to come to, or even thinking about toys coming to life. And I think it's because I had a television in my room as a child, so I didn't have to think for myself.
I didn't have that. We didn't have TV when I was a child. So also, who's John F. Kennedy? Oh, so anyway.
No one has two TVs.
Thank you. Anyway, so what about you, Don? Were you never like they could be alive, or like were you hoping they were alive, or like I'm gonna bury you and I hope you come to life while you're buried, you piece of shit?
All right, when I was doing my Dr. Frankenstein experiments, no, like stuffed animals, because I had those, like, I think it was movies like Poltergeist that did that for me, where I actually looked to see if any of those things were alive in my room, as far as the stuffed animals or anything like that. Because I could swear, like, at night I thought I saw them moving. So I think I played that game as a kid. Like, if I'm still enough, maybe they'll start moving and start talking to each other. But I mean, as far as like the other the ones I would have loved, I guess is another way to get into that question or that topic. The ones I would have loved to have come alive would have been the Transformers. I would have just loved to have seen them like convert or transform by themselves, as opposed to I'm trying to do it and I almost fucking break it every time I do it. That, or just see them beat the shit out of GoBots.
Why you gotta pick on GoBots? My favorite was
GoBots too. I had GoBots too, but it was they didn't compare.
Well, I don't think they were supposed to compare.
They tried. They tried.
Right? Man. I mean, I had Sexbot, but other than that. So basically what I've taken from this is I wanted my toys to come to life so that they could be my friends. Thomas never thought that they could come to life, and Don was scared shitless that they might come to life. Is that about right?
Oh, no. Not scared shit. I was, because of movies like Poltergeist, I thought they could, but I didn't have any fucking clown toys, man. I can't stand clowns. It's like, if one of my Care Bears comes alive, this is going to be awesome. If Optimus Prime comes alive, this is going to be great. You know, it was that hope that it might be true. But well, speaking of buying toys or not buying toys, what was the one toy that you wish you had as a kid?
Oh, but before that, can you ballpark for me how many Care Bears you think you had?
I had 3.
That's pretty good.
I had the grandma, I had Cheer Bear, and I think I had Sunshine or Grumpy Bear, one of them.
I wanted Grumpy. They wouldn't give it to me.
You were grumpy enough. Don, to answer your question, the toy I lusted at as a child was the like really big scale Tyrannosaurus Rex from Jurassic Park. Okay. I really wanted that toy. I think it was like one of the more expensive things at Toys R Us. It was definitely over $100, which was exorbitant for toys. because I remember around the same time I saved up money in my little piggy bank to buy a Batmobile, and that was only like $25. So I never got the T-Rex. Maybe I'll go on eBay. I'll buy one tonight. It'll be another COVID purchase.
I feel like that's an actual disease now, COVID purchasing. I know, I'm probably from it.
Well, I mean, I think everybody has a toy like that. What about you, James?
Mine is really, really lame, honestly. Like, so there was this show that Thomas might not know about. No, I'm just kidding. There was a show called Mask.
Goddamn.
And they had this semi truck, and I always wanted that toy, and my cousin had it, so anytime I went to his house, I would play with it. And literally, I went to visit him like 15 years later, so I was like, 25, 30, and I was playing with the stupid truck. Like, that's how much I wanted it.
What about you, Don?
It was the USS Flag.
I knew it was going to be that.
Because it's that's the only one that definitely comes up, or like a full train set for a room.
I had like a Lionel train.
Yeah, like the whole thing where I could just have the city and all that other stuff. Because my mom got me a train set once, and from somebody when she was in the Army, and it was already like on a table set up with the felt and all that stuff. But I had all these books that she bought along with it that showed like how you could make the models and stuff like that. And I was like, this would be fucking awesome to spend some time doing. But yeah, never had the chance. So I think whenever I do fully settle down into a lifetime home or a retirement home or whatever it is, not retirement home like Grandpa Simpson.
Like a retirement community, like maybe Sun City West, yeah.
Yes. And then maybe this crazy bird will come out and go after some blueberries. So anyway, it's one thing I've looked forward to, at least one day. And the great thing about being an adult is you have adult money, and when you have the chance to buy shit, you can buy what the hell you want. Fuck Christmas.
That should be a new thing. Do you have adult money?
Exactly, man.
Also, Into the Homerverse, which is a play on Into the Spider-Verse. Mm-hmm. And it's basically, what was that one called from a few episodes ago? The Homer cloned one?
Send in the Clones.
Send in the Clones. It's basically an updated version of that.
I like to Send in the Clones better.
Yeah, I think I did too. It starts off Homer is in his office, and for whatever reason, he has security footage of his own office as he's sitting in his office. And then he decides, hey, I need candy. And he can't get the candy, so I guess he walks into, I forgot what it was, like a linear accelerator. And as Lisa explains it, he quantum smash it, a quantum smash of celestial energy opens up a portal to the Homerverse, and you get all of these different Homers, a lot like the Homer cloned one. And then in the same fashion of that, they are lured to a gathering point, this time by Marge with a can of Duff. And then there's this like really stupid song, but then Flanders dies again, so it starts to be.
I knew you were going to like that part.
And then the portal opens for everybody else too. You got a Burns verse, a Smithers verse. There's a Burns dinosaur that is the same one from Geriatric Park from a few treehouses ago. And then it kind of ends in the same way as Send in the Clones, where Marge kind of has her pick of the litter, and she loves the Humphrey Bogart version of Homer until it's replaced. And I can't remember if it was like the Huckleberry Hound Homer or the Hanna-Barbera Homer, which I thought was like a joke that was for the parents watching with their kids. Like, none of these kids, nobody under the age of 30 probably knows who Hanna-Barbera was, right? So who's going to get that reference other than, me?
Right?
Who had a very strange childhood.
No, I mean, that's kind of my complaint with this skit is I feel like they've done it themselves repeatedly and done it better. This was like a shitty greatest hits of them doing this. But the thing I like about it, I love that for once you get the others going through it as well. Because usually it would just be Homer. Like, you actually get multiple Mr. Burns. I thought that was great. Homer's like, we outnumber you. And Burns was like, oh, really? you know, and then there's a bunch of Burns. And then Smithers, there's a whole bunch of Smitherses, and one of them's like, you know, in my world, you're the sidekick. And then Mr. Burns loses his shit and kills them all, you know? So I like that. I like that that's different, because I haven't seen that before, where the door opens from multiple people. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, it just felt really repetitive. It felt like a shitty clone of a clone story.
Simpsons did it already.
Simpsons did it again.
More to do with that one, because I mean it's been done and redone. But again, like both of you said, it was good to see that you had at least a little bit of a twist on it, which is having other people going through the portal. Because when we had, you know, Into the Spider-Verse, it was really just whoever the spider people or spider things were. So you didn't see, you know, Kingpin go through, or or even Doc Ock, because you had this world's version of Doc Ock, but you didn't have any other Doc Ock coming through. So I mean, it was interesting to see. Which world would you want to live in? At least out of the ones that were demonstrated or presented.
Well, I want to visit the one where Smithers is in charge instead of Burns. I just want to know what that looks like.
Well, even beyond that, is Burns in love with Smithers in that world?
Ooh.
Now I definitely want to go.
I agree. That's the one I would pick too, just to see what's going on that side.
Outside of that, just to be different, I would also like to see Princess Homer's world. Because I want to know what the fuck that's about. But Burns as Maleficent was awesome. So I want to go see that shit. So what I'm trying to say is I really have a thing for Burns and Smithers, and now they're in girl cosplay.
Can we all just appreciate that now the Disney jokes have a new layer to them?
Mm-hmm.
Because they've shit on Disney in previous seasons. I mean, when it was just Fox, right? So I think even in the movie, they make fun of Disney, where Bart puts a bra on his head and makes himself look like Mickey Mouse. He says, "Ha ha! I'm the symbol of a corrupt corporation or an evil corporation." And you're like, okay, I just saw that. Like, I like the fact that Disney kind of just doesn't care anymore. Yeah, make fun of us. We own you. So whatever. Every dollar you make is a dollar that's made for us. So, okay, keep making fun of it. We don't care.
I mean, that's really symbolic of how the 1% feels about all of us, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Go ahead, make fun of us. Make your Facebook statuses. We own you. I really brought this party down. I'm sorry. All right. We're here, I guess. The final, for now, the final Treehouse of Horror skit.
For this year.
V9, for right now. It could all end. The coronavirus could stop us from ever seeing 32. So, but if we do 32, Thomas will be back to talk about it. Yeah, so V9 Rewind is Lisa's birthday, and it's basically Happy Death Day. So everything she does results in her death, and it keeps resetting. And she finds out that Nelson's also going through it. I thought that was a fun combination. Like, it doesn't feel as weird as it should. It was just like, it was like they hang out all the time, and it was fine. And I thought that was kind of interesting. That
they used to date.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like they, you know, the Simpsons reset everything every episode, which is, you know, the whole point of this. But like, so to see that again and see these two together, and it just felt so natural. And I was like, I'd actually like more scenes of these two more often. But that would probably involve me watching non-Treehouse of Horror episodes, I suppose. So that's on me. But anyway, so they keep going through things. They keep dying. What I love is, like, Nelson gets to the point where he's like pushing Ralph in the way so that he dies instead, or different shit like that. I thought that was really great. There's one where, like, they're doing like a montage of deaths, and Nelson takes a knife to the middle of the head and he pulls it out and he just flings it and it goes into Lisa's head and they both die. And I laughed for like a minute and a half from that. Like I had to stop it because it was so great to me. And I miss that kind of humor, not just in The Simpsons, just in everything. Like that's such a easy, stupid thing to do, and it really works for me. So I don't know. Overall, I really liked this. At the very end, to undo it, they have to kill Gil. And so that was a nice callback to have Gil back again. And then they go about their lives. Or so we think. I don't know. They could reset again. Maybe they die later in the episode after we quit watching.
Have they done a Kill Bill parody called Kill Gil yet? Because that could be next year.
Oh, and I didn't even talk about poor comic book guy. I love how they go to comic book guy, and he's like, "Well, it's going to cost you," and they hand him the exact burrito that he wants.
Was it for the 900th time or 999th
It's like,
time?
how'd you know? And they're like, "We've done this like 800 times." I thought that was pretty wonderful. I don't know. What'd you guys think of this one? Did you love it as much as me or not?
I thought it was fun.
I liked it. Yeah.
And even with, I thought this was better done than the sequel to Happy Death Day. Because in Happy Death Day to You, or whatever it's called, they kind of do the same thing where it's actually not, the main character who dies every time. It's other people that are dying, so she has to stop them from dying, right? But I like that you do have this opportunity for more than one person to be involved, so they can all learn what exactly is the issue and how to get out of it. I can't think of any date that I would be comfortable repeating. I mean, typically when we have these types of conversations, there's a certain day that stands out to you that you would want to repeat. But even the days that I like, it would probably just be annoying as shit to have to go through that same day every day until you figure out how to break the loop.
Yeah, and you'd ruin it. Like, if you liked a day and you kept reliving it, like, it'd be like doing 31 episodes with two guys because they ask you on the show. And in the beginning, you're like, that sounds awesome. And then at the end, you're like, I fucking hate you both. But then you come back Monday anyway to talk about the Joker. It'd be like that. What about you, Thomas? Do you have any day that would be good enough that you'd repeat it? Even once. Maybe not repeatedly. Like, are there days you'd live one more time?
No, I don't think so. Usually at the end of any day, even a good day, I'm pretty tired and I want it to be over with, so.
Well, I have a question, though. If you are reliving that day, the outcome of that day, does that become the new reality? Let's just say, let's go with some of the cliched shit from like, I struck out in Little League, and you happen to be like, let me just go back to Little League and do something, relive that moment. And
now you're a famous baseball player.
Yeah, you just get to break the loop of that day, or, I don't know. It's weird because then it also gets into, I guess the loop is technically time travel because you're living out that day and then going back to the beginning of it. Would whatever you do result in permanence?
It might. I feel like I did something around St. Patrick's Day, and every day's been basically the fucking same since then. I do a couple little different things. I still can't seem to break the cycle.
Maybe that's what COVID is. Maybe COVID is this loop that we're stuck in.
We'll find out on November
3rd.
I don't know.
20th. It depends on what the new masters, the new founding fathers, are going to allow us to do. Praise be. Praise be.
Oh my. It's time to purge that from my memory.
Well, to get back to the sketch, I just wanted to say that I was bummed that it didn't have a cameo by Mos Def. Because I expected with a Be Kind Rewind spoof, but of course it's classic Treehouse of Horror. They title it after something that has no relation to what's going on at all with the episode, which is fine. But I did like it though. At the beginning, I was like, "Oh, this is like Groundhog Day or Run Lola Run or Edge of Tomorrow. And then I like that they called attention to it, where comic book guys just like, yeah, it's like Star Trek 4 or Groundhog Day or The Edge of Tomorrow. And the whole, like, oh, but people have Tom Cruise fatigue. It's very deadly. I laughed at that because I've had Tom Cruise fatigue my whole life. I don't like that guy. But I thought it was good. My favorite part, if we're going to talk, what was your favorite death in it? Because mine was Nelson getting Fargoed in the wood chip.
Ah, damn it.
There are other ways. Mine was the knives, obviously. I really liked that. So.
You took mine. I was going to say the wood chipper.
It's just such a classic way to die.
But did you know that if you are going to dispose of a body in a wood chipper, you're supposed to freeze it? Found that out.
Otherwise, you jam the wood chipper.
Yep.
Yeah.
For anybody out there who's listening who plans on doing that, this is not an endorsement of that. Just letting you know. If you want to get you don't want to have your warranty to be void on the wood chipper,
Is that why there's so many shaved ice places near my house now?
It's like an updated Sweeney Todd.
It's a lazier version. We freeze them, we throw them in here.
Much more tropical.
No, I really do love the joke, though, because, he goes in feet first. And anytime that you see it in a horror movie, they're nice and they send you head first, usually. And the idea of, like, being, like, lowered in there slowly or something like that is just so horrific. And Nelson, he jumps in, so it's fast. But, like, he doesn't seem to care. He's just, like, trying to give Lisa advice instead so she doesn't die as well. I thought that was very nice of him to overlook his own pain like that.
He was very calm in this episode, very calculated.
He was. What a good guy.
Just imagine how it would be if his dad didn't go out for cigarettes.
I wonder if his mom still works at Hooters. Oh, can we talk about how this one ends? Because it's basically just a callback to the lizard tongues from when Homer time travels.
Yes, go ahead.
It's basically a callback to when Homer time travels and he comes back and they all have lizard tongues.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
And he was just like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. It's the same idea, but this time it's Ralph and his head is backwards.
What does he say? Doesn't he say something really weird? Oh, now I can watch my food go in and come out.
There you go. That's a very Ralph thing to say.
And that was such a great place to end it for me that I just turned it off. Didn't even watch the last part. I was like, this is the moment. And so that's where I want to end this because I feel like that's the best place we can.
Well, what are your takeaways from this 31-day saga?
Okay. See, I will just be I guess I'll be the nice guy of this one. It's not as bad as you guys pretended. It was just laborious because it was a lot of stuff to do and talk about talking about one show within 1 month. So I think, if we ever do any other shows like this, just throw out, Black Mirror, Creep Show, what's the other, Tales from the Crypt, like revisiting stuff like that. I mean, it would be the same thing. But I think what the great thing about this show is, whether it's Treehouse of Horror or whatever, it gives you a chance, as the two of you talked about earlier, it gives you a chance to revisit an old friend. So there are the things that you like, things that you didn't like, things that worked, and also things, at least for the three of us, or at least speaking for myself, gives you at least a reference point to think about what you would do in those same types of situations creatively. So you can think about what they might not have done right and apply it to whatever you're working on.
I'll go next. So my takeaway is that I am way harder on The Simpsons than I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of that is because it was so important to me as a child, like these specific episodes, because horror wasn't cool when I was a kid. Like, horror was cool to people like me when I was a kid, but it wasn't mainstream cool. It was the same way that, like, Superman and Batman were kind of cool, but nobody gave a shit about the rest of the superheroes at that point. And so, like, it was this mainstream thing that wanted to do some horror. And so it was super important to me, very influential, and it was... I got to see all this weird shit that you could do, and it opened a lot of doors for me because they'd make fun of something, and then I was like, oh, I got to see that. I got to know what that is. Like, different shit like that. And so I feel like I hold it on this pedestal. So then when it's not perfect, I'm mad. And it's also, like we've talked about, like episode 12 with the Whiz Kids. Like, they were so good when they knew the source material that it pissed me off when they didn't. So I think that's another reason I was super hard on it. Overall, I think you're right. If we did the Twilight Zone, for instance, we're going to run into some shit episodes. But I don't think you're going to run into a string of shit episodes. And I think that was also part of the problem here. Mm-hmm. Part of the problem for me. I'm not saying you guys had a problem, but right. Like that's part of something that affected me with it. Is it was like you'd get like 5 episodes where I was just like, oh my God, is this ever going to fucking end? And what I learned was you were right. And it really made me love The Simpsons again. And I can't imagine that I don't have any more right now. That's weird. Like I have the other Simpsons, but you know what I mean. These are the ones that are important to me.
I'm just imagining you talking about horror to your toys and your toys being like, "It's not cool, man."
Yeah, my toys were like, "I'm not coming to life to kill these other kids at school." Fucking dicks.
I mean, I think we touched on it on that intro episode we did for the whole series about how we feel about The Simpsons, and I talked a little bit about, you know, how it's nice to go back and just revisit something that you loved so much as a kid, and I'm really glad we did it, although I feel like now I kind of need therapy because it's been so much. I'm glad that it's over, but I'm glad that we ended with this episode as opposed to something that we didn't enjoy. I think overall for this one that hasn't come out for most of you yet, but when it does come out, I think overall you'll really enjoy it. And I think it really shows their evolution with animation too, because they do a really good job animating in this one. And it just, I think James said it before, if not here, then on Twitter, that it reminded him a lot of like the sweet spot of Treehouse of Horror, like 3 through 7. And it absolutely does. They did a really good job this year. And that's all I got.
This concludes another episode of the Necronama.com with James Sabata, Don Guillory, and Thomas Sexbot Brungardt.